Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. We're here on Loma, Montana for the restart. Just getting the last piece of machinery back to the farm from the store. Still got some things we gotta touch up with the farm setup. But for the most part, we are just about ready to start. Here we'll turn and I'll give you guys a little bit of a tour of what we've got. And then we can get started. Driving in with the Big Bud 450. Probably going to be doing my air seeding and planting as well. But right now I've got it hooked up to the grain cart. And here I've got that planter I was talking about, Kinsey 24 row with the liquid fertilizer on it. I've also got for tillage, Farmette 12.3 meter deep cultivator, and the Big Bud KT 525. What a beast. It is a little smaller than the 450, but it has a bigger motor and therefore more horsepower. To protect the crops, we've got our John Deere 4940 self-propelled sprayer with the 120-foot booms. Demco 1100 bushel grain cart. So, yeah, we've got room to expand there, of course. Demco also has the 1300 bushel model. Just put this away in here and we can look at what's in here. We've also got a John Deere 7810, which is going to be my chore tractor for the farm. Right now it's got the front loader with bale spike on there. And then we've also got the Farm Tech bale trailer. Over here we have the Vermeer big baler. Gonna put out those big beefy bales that we need. And then here is our Volvo Tridem semi. Got some nice off-road tires on there. So it'll have some grip in the field. And then these are pretty normal, standard rear tires. It's got the Lizard underbelly single dump. I don't love the fact that the base game semi-trailers are split in two. You have to unload both bellies separately. It is more realistic for sure, but not great for me. I'd like to just sell everything all at once or dump everything all at once. Rather difficult to back this thing up. I think we've squeezed the gap perfectly there, though. I will likely use the 525 to run this auger wagon, the other Big Bud. And this one will run the planter, Kinsey planter, and what I'm going to show you next, our Hudson Bickler Terminator TH18 18-meter air seeder with a seed cart attached. Pretty big bit of kit there, but not huge. Only requires 450 horsepower, which is what this has. If this is struggling, I will definitely use the 525 on that. But this is lighter, and I assume it's lighter actually. Let me check that. The 450 weighs 18.9 tons, the 525 weighs only 17.9, so it is a little lighter. In here we've got a couple things for our pickup to run. I'll show you the pickup first, I guess. It's in this garage here. And it is the Chevy Silverado 3500. Let's listen to this thing fire up, it sounds good. Don't want to let it idle too much so it fills the garage with its exhaust. So that'll pull our header trailers as well as this Strobel bulk seed tender. It's going to carry solid fertilizer as well as seed. And then we've also got a Thunder Creek trailer. These were actually built pretty close to where I live before I moved. So they're pretty cool. It's going to carry our fuel, and then it'll also have some tools and whatnot in there and a generator so we can work on our equipment. Moving on, I'm going to put this in here. Then we'll come over here to our combine. John Deere S790. Believe it's got about 14,000 liter capacity. I don't know what that would be in bushels. And the John Deere 45-foot header. So we've got some room for growth there. Then here we've got the Case IH Swather 8860 HP. And I don't know if it's a 25 or a 30-foot header. It says it's 30 foot, but it looks a lot smaller than the 45-footer, so I'm not sure about that. But maybe. 30-foot header. We're going to be swathing sometimes on this map, so that'll be very useful. I just realized I haven't bought the pickup header yet, but we do have quite a few dollars left. I'm going to get rid of a bunch of those. I just wanted to get some things set up, because of course I'm not running on new farmer mode. I'll set that to John Deere S series. Yeah, we'll do that one. So I'll buy that. Not actually sure how much money I've spent on the farm so far. We could probably figure that out. But I still have to buy fields and all that. I wasn't sure how expensive they were, so I just dumped 10 million bucks. I'll set things up the way I want them and then get rid of the money, get it down to about 200,000, 100,000, something like that. Looks like we spent about $3 million on vehicles. And I also sold the starting vehicles for 1.3, built some buildings, purchased some land. Still not completed yet. We don't have any animal pens or production chains. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I am running the precision farming DLC, but I'm not going to be spreading lime to start off with because I'm tired of doing that. That's actually one of the reasons we restarted. If you have seen the videos, I did do a couple on Loma, Montana. That's the map we're on now, but I wasn't really loving the way it was going. I love the map, but I picked way too small of equipment and too big of fields, so we're definitely going to step up our production a little bit here. Got a pretty nice looking grain setup, and yeah, definitely looking forward to what we're going to do. But now I've got to set up the fields, and then we can get started. Alrighty guys, now that we've got all the fields set up, I'll show you what we're working with. I own 4 fields. We've got wheat that has been harvested on field 3, barley on field 5 ready to harvest, wheat on field 6 ready to harvest, and then we do own a piece of CRP land. If you don't know what CRP land, it is a government-run program in Montana, and maybe other states too as well, I'm not sure. Essentially, in order to keep the erosion down, certain pieces of land, not to exceed 25% of the farmed land in each county, they just sat dormant. Farmers were paid a certain amount every year by the government to leave the field dormant, so that's what we have here, which I guess is about 25% of our land. We've got 3 fields and then 1 piece of CRP. Quite a bit of open fields on the map that we can move into if we so choose. But yeah, for right now, all we're gotta do is swath, so I'm gonna go ahead, grab our swather, back this thing up. We'll have to run GPS just to keep things nice and neat. I don't have to, but I'm gonna want to keep things nice and neat. I think we're gonna start with the barley. They can both be harvested August, September, and October. And we can replant wheat if we so choose. I don't know if we will or not. But yeah, for today we're just going to start with the swathing. So I'll mosey on all this equipment on over there. I'm just going to start with wheat because it's closer. Well, let's put this over here. There's a bit of a narrow squeeze there. You can see the wing mirrors are super close to the sides. This thing sits a little high off the ground for this hitch. I could have gotten an adjustable hitch, but at the end of the day, it all works just fine with it. It does make the Thunder Creek trailer and the Strobel seed trailer in there a little harder to work with to drive at high speeds, but the way to fix that is just don't drive at reckless high speeds. I'll get this swather hooked up and we'll get going on the field. And then I'll talk a little bit about goals and plans for the series, because I definitely benefit from having set goals that I try to accomplish. Things to work towards, things that inspire me to keep going. We do have $100,000 and no crops like stored up in our grain bins already. We have nothing in the time-saving stock check right now. I'm not sure what speed this thing will do. How am I going to go about this one? My harvester, I want the harvester pipe to be towards the left, so we're going to do that with this. Looks like it'll run 9 miles an hour. I'm going to back it up to 6, maybe 7. And we're swathing. As we haven't worked this land at all, it's all brand new. The yield down in the left is going to be terrible. It's going to be bright red. Really low yielding for the first harvest because we didn't put any nitrogen on this. We just bought the farm as is, and we'll have to work up from here. Some of the goals I want to work towards on this series. We are starting a pretty big operation. Our 2 tractors are over 400 horsepower. That's pretty big. The 2 big buds that we have are pretty big. We've got swathers. We've got harvester. The S7 is pretty big, S790. We're running 45-foot header. That's pretty big. Big air seeder, big planter, but not huge, right? This is a 4X map in Montana. Some of the farms up here in this area of the world are humongous, right? They run the big 100-foot Borgo air seeders. I definitely want to get to that. Also the John Deere DB120 planter. Hang on, I'm going to set up GPS. Let's just do that real quick. Set it for auto width, a little bit bigger than 30 foot. A+ heading of 0 degrees. Track name, we'll call it WAF 6. Yep, okay, excellent. And then we can just pick that up going back down and forth. I'm not going to show the lines because I don't like showing the lines. I may change that later on, who knows. So I said the Borgo air seeders, there's one I think that's 80 foot, or maybe it might be 75 foot, and then there's a 100 foot option as well. The John Deere DB120 planter is like 36.5 meters wide, absolutely humongous, 120 foot. I think it's a 48 row planter. I want to use the John Deere X9 harvester with a 50 foot or even the experimental 60 foot prototype header as well. I want to get to a point where we can run the straw harvest DLC. Obviously you have to have a square baler with that. Right now I'm running the Vermeer round baler, and that just basically increases the value of our straw production, which is going to be pretty useful up here. There's a lot of cereal grain, swathable cereal grain crops grown in Montana. Not a lot of like corn and soybeans and stuff like that. I want to get to be able to run the Case IH 715, either the wheeled version or the track, the quad track, just to be able to run some of the massive equipment we're going to have on the farm. Eventually, we may look into buying some of the CRP land around here, plowing it up, turning it into fields, but I'm not sure yet. It kind of just depends on what kind of price we can get for it and whatnot. Also, it's just passive income right now. We don't have to work the land. We don't really have the equipment to work the land right now, but once we get our feet under us, we get some bigger machines, some bigger implements, maybe we want to, buy some more land, and CRP land will be cheaper. And then I want to run the big field floater auger wagon. It's absolutely massive. It's like double the size of the one we have now. But again, that's going to be quite a ways off. So yeah, these are the goals I'm working towards, but for right now, we are just swathing. We're going to run around a perimeter lap, probably one or two of these around the outside of the field in this pattern here, and then go up and down with the swather, and then we'll also get the harvester out here to run around, and it'll pick up this right here has the crop and the straw in it. The harvester with the pickup header will just separate the two. It'll put the wheat into the harvester hopper, and it'll dump the straw out on the ground. Then we can come through later on with the baler and bale it all, but yeah, this is going to be absolutely massive. Maybe even like 2 episodes for this. These wide open fields. I absolutely love Montana. Ever since the game came out, probably a few months into Farming Simulator 22, I saw a video of the Big Bud 747, the biggest tractor in the world still, even though it was made in the 70s, I believe, 70s or 80s. I saw that thing up on a 3,000 acre field in Montana. It was cultivating some land. They don't really do much tillage up there on that farm, but they decided to break it out and use it. It was a really cool video, and they also had the 450. I don't know if it was the 450 actually. It was another Big Bud in the background that was using an air seeder, much like the one I'm using, and that just immediately turned me on towards Big Bud, and it was just super cool seeing that massive machine climbing a pretty narrow path up the plateaus onto the top, like on a cliff basically all the way up to the top. There's a massive plateau top with a big field on it, and ever since then I've wanted to farm similarly like that, and this is one of the first maps to my knowledge that has that sort of topography. I guess we're going to get to see it right up here. We'll get to see what it's like. Obviously these fields aren't like 3,000 acres, they're probably 100, maybe 150 at the biggest. Up ahead you can see on the left is the map border, on the right is the actual map. So it's not a great cutoff, but I've seen worse, let's say that. Yeah, there it is. This is down the cliff. We're farming up here, and there's a cliffside that goes all the way down into the water over here, which is super cool. I think it could make some pretty cool dynamic cinematic shots if that's your style. But yeah, ever since I saw that, I wanted to be on a plateau farming, and now I can. We also are running custom crop textures on this map, which is pretty cool. I haven't actually done a map tour of this. My microphone, you may notice it's different. I guess I should have led with that a lot earlier. I got a new mic. Mine kicked the can a couple weeks ago, and I finally bought one, actually on the Amazon Prime Day sales, so I got a good deal on it. It's almost 50% off. I think it sounds better. See what you guys think, but yeah. Right, I think that's plenty babbling for today. Let's get swathing. Well, it's been quite a while. I've done a lot of stuff. The swather has completed this entire field of barley, which we're now going to get in here with the pickup header and finish up. The combine here has over 4 hours on it, just over 4, and we did the entire field 6 down here of wheat. So we've got that all completed, and now we're going to work on picking up the barley. I did move the baler to right here. We're going to bale the straw here on the field, and then also here on field 5 we're going to get the barley straw baled up. Kind of hard to see what we're doing, actually. All the stubble is yellow, the straw is yellow, and the swath is also yellow. It's barely visible hiding down in there until you zoom way out. You can see it real clearly. But I'd be crazy if I kept going. I've been, I don't know, maybe 5-6 hours, maybe more. I've lost track at this point. So once I get probably just the lap all the way around with this, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for this episode after we head back to the farm. Well, surprisingly enough, it's been 30 minutes since I last talked to you guys. All I did was go one time around the field, right? Just all the way around, and then I went up, down, and up halfway, and that took 30 minutes. These fields are gargantuan. This thing's 96% full, so we're going to take it back, and we're going to have us a little talk about some of our machines and whatnot. Suppose I should start with the combine. Almost out of fuel. We're going to have to fuel everything up. When we get back there, we can take a look at the swather, but we really only use 3 machines mainly. The swather, the harvester, and this Big Bud 525. I guess the semi's gotten a little bit of use as well. I've been filling that up. So 3 things. First off, I want to talk about this 525. Pretty decent tractor. It's got good power, good size. It sounds amazing. But a few problems with the mod. Here, I'll just unload this and show you. It starts to turn itself if I try and get it so it can go in. May not be showing up real well. You can see that back tire scooting. It just slides out to the side. Pretty annoying. I don't know quite what's going on there. I'm not a modder, I just play the game. But yeah, that's a pretty big issue when you're trying to unload and it keeps turning so it gets out of the way. I tried fixing that with the 450, this one, but it's got 75 less horsepower, and that horsepower goes a long way, let me tell you. It struggles with this thing under full load a lot. Can't get it up to the full speed. It sticks around like 8 to 10 mile an hour, whereas this thing can pull it at 17, so I think it's worth using this, but it would be nice to get a replacement at some point. Other than that, it's pretty good. As I said, it sounds amazing. It's got a ton of fuel. I suppose it's only done 1.5 hours, whereas the combine's done almost 4.5. So it's to be expected it wouldn't have too much fuel gone. Right, second thing I wanted to do was buy a pressure washer. So let's go ahead and plop that down right here. This should be enough room to get everything in the farm. We'll just toss it there. And then I need to clean off these things and get them put away between episodes. Let's see how many hours the swather did, actually. Swather did 5.6 hours. And it is almost out of fuel, so we're gonna fuel that thing up probably before we put it away. You know, normally I wouldn't. I'd wait till next year, fuel everything up before we get it out in the fields. Actually, yeah, I will do that. I was gonna say, since I'm getting the fuel trailer out, I may as well. But yeah, I'll just fuel everything up before we go out to harvest. That sounds like fun. Can kind of get everything prepped and fueled up and stuff before we head out to the fields. Third thing I wanted to mention was the size of everything around here. We've got plenty of space right now in all the barns. We just tab to the 450 here. You can see this is our fullest shed currently, and we've got space for a couple tractors in there or something. They head over here, kind of the half dome shop, wide open, right? Could probably fit a bunch of bales in there if I wanted to, but I think I'm just going to sell them straight off the field. I don't have the means to store a bunch of bales, especially with the numbers we're going to get off these fields. Here's the third one. This one is pretty full when we've got everything in there. The harvester goes to the left here of the header. Then we've got the swather header that'll go right there and the swather on the right. So, you know, we could probably fit a couple things in there, maybe a forklift at some point. But for the time being, we've got plenty of space, so we won't need to refill anything for a little while. Not refill, but replace. The brakes on this thing also are pretty bad. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. But when it's fully loaded and you stomp on the brakes, even when it's empty, that was full stop for a while. Seems like other machines in the game can get stopped much quicker than that. And this wasn't even fully loaded. But yeah, I think we've got plenty of room to grow on this farm. We've got so much open space to work on. I mean, I spent a good 6-7 hours on this episode, and all we did was swath a field and halfway swath another one. Like, that's just insane. I got 2 big tasks done in 7 hours. 6-7 hours. Pretty intense. Let's leave this here. Gonna hop in the pickup, get everything put away. We'll get the fuel trailer out there, and that's where we're going to start the next episode. Hope you guys did enjoy this one. Again, let me know what you thought about it and what you think about live streaming. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.